Hi, my name is Dina. I had a gastric sleeve 18 months ago. I lost 130 pounds. It was almost 50% of my body weight. And yeah. I've struggled with my weight my whole life. I wasn't really incredibly overweight until I was probably in college. But I was a pudgy kid. I was on a lot of steroids for asthma when I was a child. They didn't really have effective medications like they do now. And I lost a lot of weight before I got married, and that was the smallest I'd ever been, and that was a few years ago. And I started rapidly gaining weight after we were married because I was working in the food industry, which is not a good industry for me to work in. And then I got pregnant, and even though I was working out, around 7 months pregnant, I stopped being able to do the kind of workouts that I like to do. I was primarily kickboxing and started having preterm labor issues, and then I packed on the pounds, and I was the biggest that I'd ever been when I gave birth, and I just couldn't get the weight off. My insurance covered weight loss surgery, so I started looking into it, and I went to a couple different consultations, and I of course went to one with Dr. Ganta, and I never really took it seriously during the 6 month supervised diet. I mean, I thought, I'll just do this on my own. This will just, I just need some help. Like I'll go through the requirements to see. And, I did research because that's the type of person that I am. And I had originally come in thinking that I would get the lap band, and the more research I did on the lap band with the statistics and everything involved in it, it didn't seem like what I really wanted to do. And I never heard of the sleeve. And so then I started researching the sleeve, but again, I still didn't really take it seriously. And then it was about maybe 2 months before the end of my 6 month supervised weight loss, and then I kind of felt trapped, and I was miserable, and I was still not really losing weight, and I felt so defeated. I'd lost weight before, and then I'd put it on plus friends, and I mean, I'm sure you hear the same story all the time. And so I did it. I went through with it, and I did the sleeve because one of the reasons I wanted to do the lap band was because it was removable, and then I thought, do I really need it removed? I mean, does that really seem like, when I've struggled my entire life, does that really seem like something I'm gonna do eventually? I mean, why not go with something that's permanent? This is obviously a permanent problem. So I did it, and I was terrified the day that I went in for surgery, and I almost ran out of the hospital in my gown with my butt in the wind. But I went through with it, and I never looked back. It was probably the best thing that I've ever done for myself. It's definitely an adjustment. I mean, I think you really need to, when you're making the decision to have this type of surgery, I think that you need to be prepared to change your life. I don't agree that it's about being moderate or any of that. I think if you get yourself into the position that you need to have weight loss surgery, that you're morbidly obese, then you need to be prepared to change your life. Otherwise, you just shouldn't have the surgery. So after surgery, you have to go through clear liquids, and then full liquids, and then purees, and all of that. And it's basically like relearning to eat, because I think my stomach is maybe the size of a toddler's stomach. And I've always really been active, so that wasn't a problem. I know a lot about nutrition, so eating healthy wasn't a problem. It was mainly, it's just you eat a lot less. And I had some food intolerances, but now I can eat anything, which is both a blessing and a curse. There were a lot of non-scale victories along the way, like being able to wrap your towel all the way around your body, and now my towels are enormous. Being able to wear my husband's jeans, and they're actually enormous, and he's very thin. My husband is like 5'10" and 155 pounds. Being able to run after my toddler all over the playground, fitting down slides with no problem. Mainly it's just confidence. I've always had a lot of confidence in myself, in my intelligence and my personality, but I've struggled with what I look like my whole life, and I don't anymore. I feel good about myself. I did this surgery primarily because I wanted to be the best mother that I could be to my daughter. And I didn't want her to grow up with someone who was miserable and defeated, because that's not who I am. I wanted to show her strength and determination and courage. and confidence. I want her to be happy and secure in herself, and that starts with me. And I think that I'm doing as good as I possibly can. So. I'm on Obesity Help. It's a forum, and we talk a lot about the sleeve as a tool, and that's what it is. It's not, you still have to make the choices, but the sleeve makes it so much easier. It makes it easier in terms of you can't eat as much, but it also makes it easier in terms of you're not as hungry, and it's the most effective tool in your arsenal of maintaining your weight and losing your weight. I've always been able to lose weight, but I've never been able to keep it off, and this enables me to keep it off. And it's not that I don't fall down, it's not that I don't make bad choices, because everybody does, I'm human, but it's easier to get back up on the horse, so to speak, and to continue on having the sleeve. I don't regret it at all. I think it's an amazingly effective tool. I'm glad that I found out about it before I had surgery. I'm glad that it exists. I would recommend it to anybody who, needs to have weight loss surgery and is ready to change their life. I'm a huge advocate of it. I like my tiny tummy. I chose Dr. Ganta because he explained all of the surgeries that I could possibly have, and would never give me an opinion on what I should do. It was all in my hands. Even when I asked him straight up for an opinion, he would not give me one. I like that he was so thorough talking about the different surgeries that and what the different statistics were for each surgery. He just seemed so knowledgeable, and he's not exactly warm and cuddly, but I find that comforting because he seemed so confident and knowledgeable, and if I'm going to put a part of my anatomy in somebody's hands, that's really what I want. And I felt secure, which is, I think, a huge thing when you're allowing someone to take out, a huge portion of your very healthy anatomy. So that's why I chose him over other people. Had a good gut feeling.